Hello everyone, so today I'm going to talk about a very common and a very important cadence type called the perfect authentic cadence. And some people want to write it as PAC. So when we hear a perfect authentic cadence, we hear a sense of big finish, we hear a sense of ending, we hear a sense of big arrival, and we hear a sense of stability. Now, if you learn more deeper music theory, then you also know that we use PACs for modulations. So before we get into the musical aspect of PACs, let's listen to a real example. So here's a very gigantic and famous Beethoven Hammerklavier Sonata. At its ending, after almost an hour of music, the piece ends, of course, with a PAC. So when you're listening for this, try to find the sense of arrival, a sense of ending, and a sense of finish. So now you have a pretty good sense of what a PAC sounds like. Let's learn its theoretical aspects. So what makes a PAC? So with any standard cadence, we need two chords. And when I say two chords, I actually, mean more in the sense of two harmonies. So sometimes you can repeat one chord for 5 times, but that's still one harmony. So in major keys, the two chords or the two harmonies we need is 5-1 or sometimes a 5-7-1. And of course, in minor keys, we would also have the dominant, the 5, and a minor one. And of course, we can also make it the dominant 7th chord, so 5-7 and a minor 1. So these are the harmonies we need to make a PAC. Now, after learning the harmonies, we also need to learn rules for PAC. So perhaps the most important rule for PACs is that the two chords must be in root position. So you must have, let's say, a root position 5 chord and a root position 1 chord. And another very important rule for PAC is that the soprano or the top voice of the final chord must be the tonic note. So let's just try to understand these rules through a deeper example. So let's try to build a PAC in F major. And we just learned that the two harmonies we need in order for a PAC is 5 and 1. So what is 5 of F major? We count to the 5th note of F major, which is a C, and we build a major triad. So we get C, E, G. And then we find the 1 chord in F major. And we know that this is just a F major triad, so F, A, C. The next thing we have to do is that we know that the two chords must be in root position. So what are the bass notes for this cadence if the two chords are going to be in root position? We know that it's going to be C and F. And we also know from the rules of a PAC that the top note or the soprano voice for the final chord must be the tonic. And since we're in the key of F major, then the tonic note would be F. So we have written down 3 notes for this cadence. The rest of the process is actually pretty easy. We just have to fill in the other voices. And here is an option. Now, when you're filling in the voices, you basically just have to choose notes from the 5 chord and the 1 chord. But you must obey the rules of 4-part writing, so you cannot have parallel 5th, parallel 8th, and other voice crossings. So if you have trouble with knowing the rules of 4-part writing, then please watch my video on that topic. So here we have actually created a very nice sounding perfect authentic cadence in F major. Now let's try to identify a perfect authentic cadence. So let's say we're in the key of G minor and I give you this. So how would you tell if this is a perfect authentic cadence or not? our first step is to reduce all of these crazy looking chords down to a simple triad. So for the first one, we have D, A, and F sharp. And if we reduce this down to a triad, we will get D, F sharp, A. So a D major triad. And we know that a D major triad is indeed the 5 of G minor. And we do the same thing for the final chord. So G, D, B flat, and G. And if we reduce this one down to a triad, we get G, B flat, D, which is a G minor triad. And of course, this is one chord of G minor. So our first step is basically to find the two harmonies for this cadence. And we found that there are indeed a 5 chord and a 1 chord. Now, our next step is to check this cadence, whether or not it obeys the rule of PAC. And we go with the bass first. We notice that the bass notes are D and G. So which means that these two chords are indeed in root position. And our final step is to check the soprano voice or the top voice of the final chord. In this case, it's a G. And G is of course scale degree 1 or the tonic note in G minor. Which means that this example is indeed a perfect authentic cadence. So, we have done several examples for PACs. Let's just summarize what makes a PAC. So for harmony-wise, for major keys, we need a 5 chord and a 1 chord. We can also make the 5 chord a 5-7 chord. And for minor keys, we also need a 5 chord and a minor 1 chord, or a 5-7 chord and a minor 1 chord. And the two chords must be in root position, and the soprano voice of the final chord must be the tonic note, also known as scale degree 1.